Lost you, and here you are again. Hey, so a lot happening this week, Linda. Hell of a lot happening this week, and I've got to say, despite what's going on in the news, I think it's quite positive now. I've seen a lot of people coming out of a state of depression now that the planets are aligning in a more creative and positive way. But we've got to keep our finger on the ball, because there's no middle ground anymore. You're either here or you're either there. And I don't know how I can say this, because we can get in a lot of trouble from it, but we do.
Would be the first time we've had our show pulled down,
Yeah,
Mike.
but all I want to do is say this, that in my Jeanne d'Arc spiritual report, The Prophecies, Jeanne said a while back that adverse effects from spike proteins and any damage caused by having too many vacations can be reversed. And I sent you a little video of exactly from this esteemed doctor and professor showing exactly how it's done. If anyone does want to see that video, I will get it to you. Somehow you have to email me and I'll send it back in a link. But it's really good stuff, and it's, you know, I feel supercharged from yesterday. I tell you, I had a marathon table tipping session, and I thought, Jesus, I ain't going to get any sleep tonight. Because you know, I'm like wired.
Welcome to the world of my world these days, Mike.
Yeah.
I was on the lovely NDE Diary. They interviewed me. Well, I sent them off a video that they asked for, and I've had now about nearly 130,000 views.
Brilliant.
On that one. It's an eye-opener. And tomorrow I'm getting interviewed by another page that is going to skyrocket as well. So, you know, I am extremely busy now, even though I've got this one tomorrow that'll probably come out in a few more days. But I've got to stay focused and do what matters to me ultimately. So I'm shutting down my email. I'm not going to be taking any emails from people, because, you know, I'm getting about 200 emails a day. So I can't afford to do that anymore. So I want to focus more on my videos. I've still got about 6 books that I've got to write. So I want to get focused and start writing my next book. Consciousness Explained, Angels Explained, Auras Explained. There's so many books out there that they want me to write, and, you know, it's lovely that people want to contact me. I feel so humbled, and it's so privileged that people are emailing me, but I've just got to really start prioritizing my time, you know, and thank God that the Mercury retrograde is now over, because in that chaos, as you said earlier, a lot of people are now waking up to the truth. A lot of people are now waking up to psychic abilities, NDEs, angel stories. A lot of people are now seeing those ripple effects of the adverse events, and they want answers. Where did they go? What's happening to them? What do they see? That sort of thing. Who's there with them? So now a lot of people are, you know, it's almost like they're being forced to wake up, and, you know, it's all... You know, you couldn't make this up, you know. The government played this so wrong.
No,
because they never wanted us to wake up, and it's because of what they did that we all are waking up.
Yeah.
So, you know, they played it like the government, and it's backfired severely.
I think also, Linda, that one of the consequences of this is that, as you just said, that people are being able to channel. Now they're trusting their heart center, and they're able to first of all start by knowing something isn't right, and then they start trusting their heart more than their head, and then they open up this channel to intuition, which becomes psychic, and then you start getting information from a higher frequency.
That's right. And so, now that now that Mercury retrograde is finally finished, thank goodness, we're going into this calmness now, where mind and body is now aligning far better through that calmness that comes after a retrograde. So this is where people will be critically thinking. This will be where people start questioning.
Yeah.
Why is the government spending $5 billion on a road network up north? Now, we only have 25 million people here, but they're making 25,000 kilometres of new roads. Something's going on. So as soon as we say that, something's going on, it makes us want to know what's really going on behind what they're saying on the media, which helps people to wake up to the fact of what is going on. You know, and that, you know, you look at America right now. 80% of my viewers on YouTube are in America. Hello, thank you so much, y'all, for watching from afar. But, you know, I love America. I lived over there. I was looking to plan to live there myself and become an American. So, you know, I feel very patriotic to these people who contact me, and they're scared. They're confused. They don't know what's happening. Well, look at what happens when you see Biden on the news. Anyway, he's a quivering damn wreck of doesn't know what he's doing. So
not
when
the,
you've got
not the
that
best
sort of,
AI they've produced, but
and now they want us eating bugs. You know, hang on, I'm just
Uncle
gonna do
Klaus
it.
wants us to eat.
I need the hair gel, guys, so I can put my antennas up.
I got mine up, but it's a little bit curved here, so.
You know, I'm not. You know the old my favourite Martian from the '60s, that black and white show. I'm not the Martian. I'm that little antenna girl out of the Marvel movies on Guardians of the Galaxy, and because they want us now eating bugs, but gosh, you know, I've seen all the footage of the parasites that are in these bugs, and now you know why they want us to eat them, because they want those parasites in us. That's what I firmly believe in my own personal opinion. Okay? I've seen the footage of these parasites that are in the bugs, and they don't die in stomach acid. So they go into your body, and what are they doing to us? You know, so I don't want that in me or my daughter, you know?
Yeah, well,
so
the EU has just approved crickets in certain basic foods like flour and stuff like this.
Oh my God, why?
Well, here's the thing.
There is so much food out there for us all.
We're talking
and,
about...
you know, you look at the excessive deaths every country now. You know, like the UK, they've got 10,000 more people dying every week. Every week. 10,000 more people than average are now dying. You know, there's about to be an influx of real estate. That's all I'm saying. There's going to be so much food. So why do they need us to eat bugs? That's, you know, this is where we come in as a critical thinker. And you know, using our psychic intuition, it ain't good. It really is not good. What the intention is for this.
So before we get on to the news, I just want to say about this is that this is another plan that will backfire, because there are many vegetarians, myself including vegans, who will now look at labels for, I think it's acetita domestica, they call it, something like that. But the problem is as well is that many of the companies that don't want to put this stuff in the food will boldly say contains no animal protein or no cricket. And so this is going to backfire, because what we're doing is using their energy, which is the greed for money and everything that comes along with it, against them by simply not buying it. So
that's right.
I don't see it as a problem.
You know, it's like the old Ferrero Rochers. I'm not buying them anymore after what I saw in that video.
Little insects in there.
Ferrero Rochers, you know, little chocolates, guys, that come in a little gold wrapper. Don't eat them.
No.
You don't want to know what's in them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's more than scary.
Yeah.
You know, but we have to stay spiritual. We have to stay focused. And ultimately, we must stay in tune with our intuition. So when something presents itself that's not in our higher good, we must know to refuse those things. So how do we connect with our higher self? So let's just go there. It's as easy as saying, I wish to connect with my higher self. Because as soon as we give consent, we're allowing it to occur. I give myself consent that if I'm out in my life and something's not in my higher good, I give myself consent to hear the warning bells so I'm prepared not to do whatever it is. And it's that easy. People don't realize it's that easy. And as you know, Mike, how many false prophets are coming out now? I heard of this woman the other day. She says every single person who dies is instantly met by a loving relative. Come to me and I'll tell you who they are. You research her. And guess what she used to do for a job? She was a teacher. She didn't want the jab, so she lost her job and she's thought, damn, what do I do now to make money? Because it's all about the money with these ones. It's all about the money. So when you look for a psychic, guys, ask yourself, are they after the money or are they doing this for the right reasons in your highest good? Because there's a lot of fake ones out there now. And, it took a lot for me to actually put a section in my Psychics Explained book. I actually put a section in there, how to identify a fake. As a psychic who could be interpreted as a fake, a lot of people say, oh, Linda, you're full of it. You don't connect with me at all. You're a fake. But that took a lot for me to put that section in there.
I bet.
How to identify a fake. Because it all comes down to lack of ego and lack of financial priorities. Financial priorities, where they're doing it for the money rather than just the person. This week I am inundated with readings, and it's only like 1 in 10 that have donated a few dollars. So all of my readings that I'm doing are virtually free. They donate what they wish to donate. And that's how I like operating, because, we're in hard times. Jenny Valance, that's why I love you so much. You are so giving. Oh, Jenny Valance, thank you so much for those kind words, darling. I try my damnedest for anybody, and I don't judge. There's one lady out there now, she says, I'm $250 for half an hour, and please book and pay before you contact me. So she's making it very known that she only wants clients who are financial. She doesn't want clients that desperately need her attention. She doesn't want clients who are truly struggling. I'm not going to discriminate like that, Mike. And I know you won't either. So that's why we're the ones who are really going to help with this transition over the next year, because it's going to be very, very hard, and we've got to learn how to let go of ego. It's so hard for some people to just let go of ego. But we've got to. We've just got to power through it, because we're getting primed. Because it's coming.
The thing is, I draw the line at freebies with this. When we have our healing circle, there's some people that come that say, oh, we can't afford to pay. It's only €20. We can't afford to pay. Okay. So what we say is then, okay, help set up and help clean up. And the next
there's that energetic transfer, which is frequency, which is currency.
But the thing is this,
Mike.
The thing is this.
Exactly.
Often
I was talking to this. I was talking to this one lady. She lost her son, so you can imagine the grief she's going through, and she needed some direction. So she came to me, and I said, "Darling, I know exactly." She's telling me what we need to do for you, And I said, I need to send you my books so you can edit them for me.
Yeah.
So she edited 2 of my books.
That's fair
What
enough.
an amazing person. So she then got the books for free, obviously, but it kept her in a good mindset where she was getting self-worth, self-love, self-respect by doing work for other people. And what a compliment to her that I was in that need straight away of needing someone to edit my books for me. So she did it.
Yeah.
And now, you know, you look at where she is now, she's coming through that grief of her own. And also, you know, you got to look at the books that I gave her, you know, Psychics Explained as well as Spirit Guides. So imagine what she got out of those 2 books.
Yeah.
Wow. The timing, those synchronicities are perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to know the value of how much I saved her because she was quite determined to end it, if you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, she's now turned herself around. So how can I ever put a value on that?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I just think, thank God I found that girl because I want to get my next books done so then I can give them to her and keep her on that track of really looking after herself and getting through this grief of losing her son. Wow.
Okay. Goody good.
1970 AFAMA, and a lot of people think that they are good only because they're expensive. Well, look at Tony Robbins. He's advertising a retreat right now for $5,000. And, you know, you look at him, he's got $600 million in the bank.
How much is enough?
I would never go to his event based on that fact alone. Because if he's got that much wealth and he's still trying to make more, that shows me that this guy has so many egotistical issues. Nothing is good enough for him. So how can he be out there saying he's a life coach, helping people get through their struggles, when we've got a narcissist with $600 million demanding $5,000 for an overnight retreat? Sorry, Tony, that's my personal opinion if you're watching, but that's how I feel personally. I would never pay you $5,000 for a retreat knowing that you've got that much money in the bank, you know? Yeah, so that's my personal opinion. And, you know, if you want to prove me wrong by my limited information, Tony Robbins, then go for it. Because, you know, and I'll make a public apology if you deem me wrong. But do a Google and he's worth $600 million.
Okay. Well,
anyway, we've got to get into the news, Dale.
Katerina isn't worth $600 million, but close to it. Yeah, let's hear what she has to say. Here we go.
Yeah.
So here we are. You're back from your sabbatical. Or, well, you wasn't well. We call it a sabbatical. So what we got on the table today, Katerina?
We have Mr. Aaron Carter, who has since passed himself, but he did tell a ghostly tale involving his grandmother. So he went up north to visit her when the family found out that she wasn't doing well. They came up here to New York, and he says that she was always kind of a trickster. So she would tickle her grandchildren's feet at night when they were sleeping to kind of give them a little scare, kind of lovingly, a little scare there. So she winds up asking Aaron to do a little ritual for her once she passes. She asks him to light a candle. She goes, I'm going to prove to you that ghosts really do exist. So he lights this candle in Florida, mind you, which is not known for being quite cold. And the candle flame is kind of dancing around. And he looks around the room and he's like, there's no draft coming in. He's like wondering how this is happening. So he turns around and looks at the candle flame again, and it's extinguished. And that smell of, you know, a candle being extinguished, she said, filled the air. So as he looks at it, this mist starts rising up from the candle. And it looks like the back of his grandmother's head. And he's in shock. He looks and he hears, "I told you so."
Okay.
Yes.
Super. Next on the list. Who we got next?
Next, we have John Sally, known as Spider, too, in the NBA world. He's an NBA champion. He had something like 3 different championships from each of the teams he was in. So in the late 80s, he goes to a club at like the height of his career in Georgia. And it was a happening spot, and, you know, all the pretty people, and he has a VIP table reserved. And on this particular night, another famous person who remained undisclosed came into the club wanting to get into the club. But since he always had this air of drama about him, the club management said, "No, you can't come into this." I believe he was a famous singer at the time. And so in retaliation to this rejection, this singer and his entourage, whomever it was, started shooting up the place. Like bullets are ricocheting all over the place. So, of course, Spider is fearful for his life. But luckily, all of a sudden, he feels like a bodyguard presence pick him up, and he's like practically lifted off the floor and crawling, you know, so beneath the tables. But he's like his feet weren't even touching the ground. He felt like he was carried low. So he's carried low safely out of the club. The door slams behind him. He looks up to see who had just helped him, and lo and behold, guess who it was? His childhood friend who had perished 4 years ago, Lloyd Harrison. We got one from New York. Miss Debbie Mazur had an incident with a ghost. She's of Entourage fame, Goodfellas fame. What happened was she had moved into, I believe it was her first apartment in Brooklyn, with a friend. Another friend had said, "Hey, you could move into my family's former home. Nobody's living there." So Miss Mazur took her up on the offer. So she and another friend moved in there. One day, somebody gave her a turtle.
As you do.
As you do, yes. So she put the turtle very happily in the tub so the turtle could feel at home as well. So they go back a few hours later, and the turtle had turned white and was floating dead upside down because the water was so intensely hot. So Debbie did not do that herself. So she immediately called her friend and said, "Hey, you know, this just happened. What do you think is going on here?" And she's like, the friend's like, "Oh, I bet you that's my grandfather." And she's like, or one of his family members did end up taking care of him for a little bit, but they were abusive to him.
Right.
So it was a very sad situation. And what happened was Miss Mazur tried to live it down, but she went down to the basement one time and she was trying on all these great outfits that the man had left behind. And she was admiring the clothes and moving them around. And then all of a sudden a window flew open and there was like this distinct, wind coming in. So she was like, "That's it. This man does not want this house disturbed." So she left that home.
So there you have it.
She really needs the Indiana Jones music with that little map.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
You know, it is cute.
Yeah.
I love her. She's gorgeous.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff there, actually.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's what we've got to look at, Mike, that it's not just one country or this area. Remember when, like, Lourdes in France, when the Mother Teresa and the water fountain there and everybody flocked there. Everybody still does flock there. It's now everywhere is having some sort of event. And it's amazing, you know, and, you know, this would be the time, and I'm serious here, if you guys know what I'm talking about, if you've got anywhere near you where you've had some sort of experience, get onto your local news crew, because like here in Australia, near-death experiences, every day there's some sort of story. A priest died and he went to hell. And, you know, these sort of stories are now getting into the news.
Yeah.
And if we can start showing that there are these little fountains of youth or healing fountains, because it's always usually water. So if we can start this little ripple of someone here is going to the water and they're having all this heavenly activity. Over here we've got this another little ripple of energy coming down where someone's had this healing energy coming through. That's how we're going to win this war. You know, we're going to win the war by believing it.
It's the only way.
So if you've had an experience, get it out there. Contact us so it's on the show. Contact me and I'll talk about it on my YouTube channel. I don't care, because we've got to get these stories out there, because the more that people believe, then they're going to disbelieve all the lies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And of course, as we've said before, the naysayers have to continually disprove things all the time. We only have to prove something once, which has been done more than once, but they have to continue to yeah but all the time. It's endless for them.
Well, that's just cognitive dissonance for them anyway, because as soon as they own up and say, oops, I got had, that's going to set people off on psychological injuries really bad.
Yeah.
When they realise that because as I was saying to you off air, the more we trust those in charge, you know, we grow up and we think this government agency is really good for us and this really agency is doing their best and they're using our money wisely. So we get it grained into us, conditioned. And it's all that programming through the indoctrination that we have at school and the curriculum. And then what happens is, you know, you get to like 40 or 60 years old and you realise that's not true anymore.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, my God, everything I thought was real isn't real. And then after that, there's a thought of, well, what is real? Because we always want something, as humans, we always want something to believe in. So what is real? What can I believe in?
Right.
And that's where now people are saying on spirituality, not religion, because everyone's now over religion. Well, most people are anyway. Everyone's doubting religion because of the money that they're making. And, you know, it's just amazing that people are being forced to now wake up to this stuff of what's going on. So, you know, I'm happy to help as many people as I can. What's here? Someone here just sent a little turtle. Aculignification. They sent a little turtle. You know, turtles live for like 150 years. So you got to, you know, you got to put your great grandchildren into the will to look after it. People don't realise that. Wow.
Linda, let's look at some poltergeist.
Oh yes, please bring it on.
Yeah. See what you all think here. Let's see what's real, what's not real.
Yep.
Give us your thoughts. Here we go.
Now, there are many things going on in this video, and the more you analyse it, the creepier it becomes. The poltergeist seems to be very subtly messing with the objects around the room. It causes a few power surges, shown in the overhead light and the desk lamp on the table. You can tell this isn't just someone flipping a light switch, as the luminosity intensifies suddenly and drastically, above the capacity of the bulb itself. We also see a pen coast across the table unevenly, disrupting papers on the desk. A variety of weird shapes seem to roam around the room, and the lamp falls to the table as the shape moves towards it. The video culminates with 2 rapid frames of apparitions actually manifesting in the room. While many might say that such figures have been edited in, you can see when it first appears that the anomaly actually affects the light around it, casting a translucent shadow on the objects of some of the tables, so it isn't just someone standing in the room and cutting themselves in. As the second time the apparition appears, you can clearly see it's translucent. What is slightly suspicious is the convenient positioning of the camera. However true or fake, the clip is still incredibly creepy. What's your thoughts on it? After the child runs away, the poltergeist appears to become more and more violent. Poltergeists are known for trying to communicate with children, so it appears that this poltergeist might have been trying to interact with the child, and when she runs away, it gets angry. Little is known about this clip, and we would love to know more. It looks convincing, and the fact that it is quite a rare clip makes you wonder if it is the real thing.
Well.
No. Can we just start with that one while it's fresh in everyone's heads, Mike?
Yeah.
All right. I don't believe a word that guy just said, that poltergeist, it's angry that she left. Yeah. No. Because, out of the 2, I think it's the second one that's real.
Yeah.
And I actually believe it is real because of the way that the paper flows across the room. One lands on the chair, another one lands on the floor, so you can tell that there's no strings involved with the paper, unless someone's standing off-site with a fan. But, I firmly believe that that's just something. If it's a poltergeist, we've got to remember that there are a lot of documented theories out there that prove that poltergeist is created from coming up to puberty age children, where it's that it's like an unfrequency of energy creates poltergeist activity because their emotions and their hormones are so imbalanced. I firmly believe, because every time I see poltergeist footage, there's always a kid in shot. Funny that. So I've got a funny feeling that she may have been creating that. If she was angry because she's doing homework, hello, of course she's going to create poltergeist activity where her school books are all flying over the room. So I don't believe what that guy says, that it's angry because she left. No. But the big question I did have for that second one was, were they filming the girl or were they setting it up to film the ghost?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if this is just a security camera that they put in the room so that they can keep an eye on the kid when they're in another room. That we don't know, but it does show that it was filmed in 2016 when you see the extended version of that. But there was nothing really there to suggest otherwise, that it is a security camera. I don't think that could possibly be real, but I agree with you. In this guy's theory about poltergeists, I don't go with his theory. Yeah,
well, I'm liking the second footage better than the first because the one thing that I don't like in the first one is that quick glimpse of the black shadow. That's an edit.
Yeah.
Because ghosts don't come in like that. Because I've interacted with so many ghosts. It's...
Yeah. They're not show busy. Yeah.
That's what gave it away for me. When you saw that little clip of the black, I went, nah.
Yeah.
Edit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
you know, and so what have I got here? But the light above, and you know, as much as he says, oh, you can't manipulate light, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And it is very easy to manipulate light. You actually unscrew them a little bit, and it's guaranteed that they'll start flicking.
Yeah.
So, damn, you just unscrew it so it's just sitting in there, and as it wobbles a bit, it connects and disconnects, so it creates light, dark effect in it.
Yeah.
So, and even I know how to do that one. So, you know, that first one to me was just nothing, but that second one, there were some things in there I did like.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got a couple of comments here, Mike. 1970, I'll just call you 1970, darling. No for the first, second reel. Yeah. James said fake news. Well, James, the second one could also be fake too. It's called a dimmer. Exactly, James. You know the old dimmer lights where you press it and your light goes down and up? Yes. Love that you said that. 1970 again, and all fall in one direction in the first, and then the opening door where we can't see. That's right, because how do you know someone's not there just opening the doorway?
Yeah. The doors are always suspicious thing there.
Yeah. I know. You know, there's always that possibility of someone crouching down behind where you can't see. You know? So I still like the second one though.
Okay.
Just that reaction on the poor girl.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Well,
I don't like kids being scared at all, you know. No. Just her reaction was, I'm out of here.
Good excuse not to do your own work. But anyway,
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Let's rush on. We got another reincarnation story, and every time I say this is the best reincarnation story that we've ever seen, but this one tops it all. Yeah. I mean, if ever there was clarity, then this kid actually, to date, is the best for clarity. Absolutely, it's almost like he just was there a day ago. It's incredible. Yeah. So we'll pop over and see this young kid, this young revolutionary, I think we can call him, in action.
Yeah.
He was born on February the 29th, 1992. At 6 years of age, he made claims that he had lived a previous life as a man who owned pistols and hand grenades. He described his house and said that he had children and lived in the village of Kabashamun. He had lost his life when he was shot by armed men. According to his mother, Naim al-Danaf, at only 1.5 years of age, he had a fairly advanced vocabulary. He would tell his mother, "I am not small, I am big. I carry 2 pistols and own 4 hand grenades. I am a fearless, strong person. But don't be scared by the hand grenades, I know how to handle them. My children are young and I want to go and see them." Nazi stated that he wanted to go to his previous home to get some papers for money that he had lent to people so that he could get the money back. He said his previous name was Fawad. Nazi used to tell his mother, "My wife is prettier than you. Her eyes and mouth are more beautiful." When he was 4 years old, he saw a young woman that worked in a store across the street. His mother and sister remember him saying that she looked like his previous wife and had the same beautiful eyes. He told his father that he had lots of weapons and that he knew how to handle them. He wanted to bring his father to his house and show him the weapons. He told him he had children and deeds for a house. Nazi described how he had lost his life. Armed men came and shot at us, and we were later taken by ambulance. That is when his life ended. Nazi often insisted that his parents take him to his previous home so that he could see his children. Sometimes he would threaten that if you don't take me, I'm going to walk. Other than saying he lived a previous life, his family also claimed that he had behavioural characteristics that are unusual for a child of his age. Other than his fearless and firm behaviour, whenever he saw a packet of cigarettes, he wanted to smoke one, and if someone had a whiskey, he wanted one too. Nazi remembers the fearful events that led to his losing his life and speaks of being a brave and fearless person. Nazi's father, Sabir el-Danaf, was a Mason by profession and had been more than ready to listen to Nazar talk about his previous life, possibly more so than his mother. Though he did not encourage Nazar, he listened to him, although he also did not want his son to get confused with two lives. Nazar said that his home is in Kwapashamun, which is at an intersection of major roads, and was a small town about 17 kilometres away, and he wanted to show them where his house was. His father states that as young as 2.5 years old, Nazar drew a map of his previous house for them and of an intersection near his house. Nazar would say to his sisters and brother that he wanted to go and see his children and get his weapons and other things. His mother and father finally agreed to drive Nazar to Kabashamun in 1998 when Nazar was 6 years old and arrived at the intersection of Kabashamun where the 6 roads converged. They stopped the car and asked Nazar where to go. Nazar pointed to a road to the left and said to continue on that road until they come to a road that forks off upwards. This is where you will find my house. His father drove a bit further until they came to a very steep gravelly road and then stopped. Nazar then jumped out of the car to look for his house. While his father stopped the car to follow Nazar, his mother and sisters stayed in the car. They spotted a young man washing a car and walked up to him to ask him some questions. His name was Kamal Kadaj, and they asked if he knew someone who had been shot. They did not know his name, but he had carried handguns, hand grenades, and had owned a red car. The young man was surprised and said that they seemed to be describing his father, Fuad Kadaj, who had passed many years ago. Kamal then shouted to his mother, who was working in a field close by, that they had visitors. At this time, Nazar and his father had rejoined the family. Nanaja Kadaj was Kamal's mother and the wife of Fuad, the man that Nazar claimed to have been in his last life. When Nazar saw her, he looked like he knew her and looked her up and down. Kamal then said to him, "Well, is she your previous wife or not?" At this point, Nazar smiled as if he knew. Nanaja then decided to ask him a series of questions to find out whether he really was her deceased husband. She asked who built the foundation of this gate at the entrance of this house. Nazar replied, "A man from the Faraj family." That was correct. She then invited him into the house, where Nazar walked into a room by himself and pointed to the cupboard. He said, "This is where I used to put the weapons," and asked, "Where are they?" She said they'd been stolen. This again verified Nazar's claim, as Fuad had kept his arms in the cupboard. She then asked him about an accident she'd had when they were living at their previous house in Ainab. Nazar said that she had dislocated her shoulder after slipping on plastic nylon while she was picking up pine cones for her children to play with, and he had taken her to a doctor who put a cast on her shoulder that she had to wear for a long time. Nazar again confirmed everything that Nazar had told her. She asked him if he remembered how their young daughter Faruz got seriously ill, and Nazar claimed that she'd been poisoned by taking his medication and he had to take her to the hospital. Yet again, this was true. When his daughter Faruz was 4, she had taken her father's medication from his jacket and became seriously ill. Then Nazar added information himself by asking Nadija if she remembered when they were driving from Beirut and their car stalled twice and Israeli soldiers fixed it for them. In fact, he said, the Israeli soldiers had charged the car battery twice. She again confirmed the story. He then added another incident where one night when he came home drunk, she locked the door and was made to sleep outside the house on a rocking sofa. Again, she confirmed the story. Nazar said that there had been a barrel in the garden where he used to teach her to shoot. Where is it now? And she said that it was still in the garden. He walked out to the garden and saw the barrel. Nadija showed Nazar a photograph of Fuad and asked him, "Who is this?" And he replied, "That was me. I was big, now I'm small." Everyone in the family were convinced and believed that Nazar was Fuad reborn.
Yeah, powerful one, eh? A lot of detail. A lot of detail.
You know, when we get the confirmations from the families or the relatives or friends, whoever, you know, like that lady who went halfway around the world to that, university and said, this is used to be this and this used to be that, and that's all confirmed, where there's no other way of knowing this information.
No.
That right there is what makes me get the tingles, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, because how could that kid ever know so much information about that family?
Yeah.
You know, unless he really was that person.
Yeah. I mean, I would doubt at that age if he even knew, if they said who put the foundations there, I doubt if he'd even know what a foundation is at that age. You know,
I wouldn't know what a foundation was.
So this was a really powerful one, and it kind of reminds me of the kid who was reincarnated after he was murdered, and he brought the police to where his body was because they couldn't find the body, and he was born with the same mark.
Same mark as the injury on the body.
He brought the police to the man who did it, who eventually confessed.
Yeah.
So
it's good, isn't it?
We just keep seeing so much more evidence. I hope, though, that the little kid, for his sake, begins to lose those memories and gets on with his own life as it is now, because you can't be in these two worlds at the same time. So
no, he's got to. It'd be very hard to live as a child knowing that you were part of that family. Yeah. You know, and that your family, like your children, etc., are still there. Yeah. It'd be so heartbreaking for both families involved. Yeah. You know, one of them think, well, we've got our husband back, and then the other side is my son is actually another person's family. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really a no-win situation for either side. No. And the biggest no-win of all is actually the child who knows all this information. Yeah. You know, so it's not something that we want to be. No. And, you know, that's what makes this so special as well, Mike. Yeah. You know, because it's just so tragic in the fact that it's so beautiful. You know?
Yeah, it is beautiful, actually.
It really is. You know, as A. Alexandra Kay said, it's a beautiful story. Yeah. But, you know, what else can we do? Yeah. Now, we're coming up to a story now about the atheists and DE.
No, the angel. An angel saved me. An angel.
Oh, okay. We'll do that one first. Okay.
We'll do that one first because this is another lovely piece of evidential stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous. Okay. It's gorgeous.
All right. Let's
go and have a look at this one.
Here we go.
An angel saved my life. I want to tell you that story as it has been told to me many times by my mother. My mother is an amazing woman. When she was a young mother with 7 small children, her youngest, me, just 6 months old, her husband was killed in a mining accident. And then 4 months later, her oldest son, just turned 14, drowned and passed away very tragically. She had to keep going, though. She had 6 young kids that she needed to take care of. This story takes place when I was about a year and a half old, and it had been about a year since my father had passed away. One day, it was summertime, and my mother's visiting teachers came by, and as they sometimes did, they brought their children. And my mom said, let's let the kids play out in the big yard. It's fenced in, and we will have a nice visit. Well, she told my older sister, who was 6 and a half at the time, to keep an eye on me. And she was a very responsible 6.5-year-old. And so my mom knew that she could trust her. Well, after the ladies stopped visiting, my mom said, I know you have other visits. Why don't you leave the kids here so you can go and visit without them, and on your way back you can stop by and pick them up. So Mom's visiting teachers were very happy to accept that offer. One of the ladies' sons happened to be my older sister's, one of her best friends. And so when she saw that the 2 ladies were leaving, she thought that her job was done. And so she and her little friend ran off and left me in the yard. Well, Mom decided that she was going to start making lunch for everyone. So she went in the kitchen and she started putting things together for lunch for all of the children. As she was working, suddenly she heard a voice say, "Evelyn." That was my mom's name. And she looked around, wondering if someone needed her, and there was no one there. And she thought, oh, man, it's been a rough day. And she continued working and she continued putting lunch together. And again, she heard the voice. It was a woman's voice saying, "Evelyn." She looked and she thought, one of those kids, are they trying to trick me? Are they playing a trick on me? And she called out, she said, "I'm busy right now, I'm getting lunch." At that moment, she heard a baby cry. Without an instant of hesitation, she ran out of the kitchen, out of the house, across the yard, through the open gate, across the road to where there was a ditch full of irrigation water. And there she saw me floating face down in that ditch. She jumped in and fished me out. And as you can tell, I was saved. She was able to revive me, and I was saved because of an angel that called my mom's name and then let her hear a baby cry. There's no way my mother could have heard me crying through the distance and the house. Besides, I was in the ditch. One of my favorite scriptures, is in Doctrine and Covenants, section 84, verse 88. "And whoso receiveth you, there I will be also. For I will go before your face. I will be on your right hand and on your left. And my spirit shall be in your hearts, and mine angels round about you, to bear you up." I know that we are watched over. I am alive because we are watched over. And I have a testimony of that, and I am grateful for it. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Simply beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. Nothing
Absolutely.
nothing much you can say about that.
Yeah.
Spirit works in very, very mysterious ways. You know, it's sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, again, we ask the question, well, why was this child saved and why wasn't someone else? Well, how much time have we got to answer that one?
We'll never come to the right answer, Mike.
No,
That's the thing.
no.
Because we don't know what we've all signed up for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And as Sari just said in her comment, you know, if people keep dying off from sterilisation, does that mean none as many are coming back? Well, we've got to remember here that there is no time. There's no time. And if there's no time, there's no space. And when there's no time or space, there could be 3 or 4 of us all coexisting quite comfortably in the same body at the same time, because there's no time or space. So even though it's concurrent now that Linda's here sitting in this office talking to Mike Cavalli in Austria, in another reality of someone else's perspective of their soul being in my body, I might be at the beach today having a really good time. And I hope that's the case. So we don't know. You know, we really don't know the answers here. Sorry, okay? You know, it's just, as Mike says, it is just a physical aspect of it. Yeah, absolutely. All righty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but at least that woman, you know, what a lovely, I love the way that she was telling her story too.
Yeah.
You know, it was very calming. You know, she's the sort of person that should be reading books to send you to sleep to.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So our last one for the night.
Another atheist NDE story, and this I actually had to really chop up quite a little bit because it was 49 minutes. But the long and the short of the story, just to give you a bit of a backdrop, is that her mother and father were drug addicts, serious drug addicts, and her grandparents were serious drug addicts. So this young lady was on a hiding to nothing right from the start. So that's the backdrop to all of this. Yeah. And then you will just see this wonderful transformation, which I suspect is one of the reasons that she came to the earth plane, to experience this, to give other people in this experience a bit of hope. So let's run over and see this.
Well, we do have to give a little warning, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, if this one does trigger you guys, because it does mention suicide and drug use, please go talk to someone, reach out to someone, go and seek professional medical help, okay, if this does trigger you.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that in there. All right, let's go and have a look at what it is.
And in 2007, my parents made a decision to stop using drugs. And they did that by committing suicide with each other. And, you know, like they didn't know that there was any other way to stop. You know, they knew nothing about recovery, and their only option in their minds to stop using drugs and stop their pain was to die. And I'm really grateful for this part of my story, which sounds like a weird sentence to say, but this part of my story has given me such contrast, gratitude for my own life. So, you know, like after that happened, I was already an addict before that had happened, but after it happened, man, drugs became my everything. Like they attached to every cell of my being, every fiber of my personality became all about drugs. My dignity, I lost my home, I had no way to make money. I began, you know, doing sex work, and I had nothing, you know, like there was just nothing tangible in my life. The only thing that I had was drugs, and drugs were my higher power. That was my interpretation of God. Kundalini energy is described as life force energy. Some people describe it as receiving the Holy Spirit. Kundalini energy is coiled at the base of your spine. It's represented by a coiled serpent. And when it awakens, it straightens up and it opens up all of your chakras. And so I was having this experience, not having any language for it at all, just thinking that I had died, because as my Kundalini awoken, I found myself in the space of eternity. And I had this just the most beautiful experience, you know, like this vivid white light, no physical form, unconditional love. And, you know, I was guided to this space by people that I knew on earth. But, you know, I was perceiving them in a different way there. And every masculine energy that I had ever encountered in my life, meaning boyfriends, husbands, my father, my grandfather, uncles, everything morphed into this one masculine energy. And that's what guided me through my experience. And I found myself going through the perception of every mythological family, every pantheon in existence. So I saw myself in ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Greece. I saw myself in the Garden of Eden as Adam and Eve. And it was this amazing experience where my whole mind just cracked open. And I was taken through my pre-birth planning. And I was shown that I, as a soul, had designed my entire life. And I was like so mad, you know, I was like, there's no way that I would pick all of the things that have happened to me, you know, and I was like, no, it's not. Like, you guys can tell me that all you want, but it is not exciting to be on Earth. In fact, it's real strife, and I'm not going back. And they said, you have to go back. You know, like the first half of your life was boot camp, and the second half is going to be carrying out the mission, and it's going to be nothing like the first half. And I just couldn't conceptualize what that would be like. I mean, I heard the words that they were saying, but I couldn't conceptualize anything good happening on Earth because of how challenging my experience had already been. And I just kept affirming that I will not go back. And they said, okay, you don't have to go back into her, but you do have to go back. And so we'll show you the baby that you'll be born into. And, you know, it kind of looked like my mind perceived it like a video game. So they showed me this 3D avatar that I would be born into, this little baby. And then they showed me all of the baby's stats. So like the family that it would be born into, its level of intelligence, its level of charisma, its health, like all of these different aspects to it. And this child had even deeper levels of adversity than I had already had in my life. And I had gone through a lot of adversity. And so I, just threw my hands up in the air and I said, no way, I'm not starting from zero. Not if that's what zero is. I'll go back into her. And I could perceive myself outside my body. And so I came back into my body and, I just wrote it off as drug-induced psychosis, because who wouldn't? Like, I was an atheist. Like, I didn't believe that things like this could happen. All I knew was that I did a bunch of drugs and then I thought I was talking to God. So I just wrote it off, and then the universe made itself so known to me in this very loud, tangible way to let me know that this was not some sort of hallucination. This was a real experience, and that I had to come onto a different path to complete my mission. And so all of these divine synchronicities started to take place, like all the drug dealers that I had been dealing with for over a decade, all simultaneously decided to change their lives and stop selling drugs so that I had no way to get them. I'm talking multiple people that did not know each other. And so I had no option, and I was physically addicted to heroin, and that does have a physical addiction to it. And it's very painful to come off of it, which is why so many people stay tethered to it for so long, for fear of physical pain, because it is very physically painful. And I found myself on day 3 of heroin withdrawal with nowhere to get drugs, and drugs just not working at this point. And, I experienced an instantaneous healing. Like I was writhing in pain on my bed, just sweating, like shaking, sick all over myself. And I had this thought and I said, wow, I couldn't even kill myself if I wanted to right now, because I'm so sick that I can't even get up out of bed and figure out a way to kill myself. Right then, as I said that, which to me was like my moment of mental, spiritual suicide. Even if I hadn't actually physically committed suicide, there was something in me that said, I give up. I'm finished. I can't do it, And so I had that thought, and then I heard this voice, and it said that I could request what I wanted fixed. And at this point, I am deep in the gift of desperation. Like I heard this voice and I said, you know what? I'm willing to believe anything right now. Like I'm so sick. Whatever, this weird voice is coming in my head. Sure. Okay. I'll request what I want fixed. And I said that I wanted to no longer be physically dependent on heroin. I said that I wanted my pain receptors and my neurotransmitters fixed. And I didn't say that I wanted to be rid of my drug addiction, because I still wanted to still use other drugs. I just didn't want to be physically dependent on this one drug. And so I laid back in bed as they requested, and I saw these 2 little men appear in my mind's eye. And they were wearing white lab coats, and then they had these little lawnmowers in front of them. And I watched them walk through the crevice of each wrinkle of my brain. And I felt these hot, warm tingles as they went through. And I knew that in that moment, I was being healed, that my pain receptors were being restored to their natural state. And I felt X's go across my forehead. It felt like someone's thumb, and then a palm on my forehead. And then it felt like a plunger was on the crown of my head. And as it plunged down, this bright white flash happened, and I was instantaneously healed out of day 3 of heroin withdrawal.
Brilliant. Quite brilliant, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thoroughly believe her stories.
Yeah.
But, just brilliant. That's all I can say there, Mike.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it does beg the question. We see this all the time. There's no way I would have made that choice to come to Earth and do this, but you did. Here it is. It's here.
And hey, we can't say that because we're all meant to be here right now, remember?
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to be in the next 2 months. We've got the opportunity here to go back to 1930 depression. We've got the opportunity where it could be World War III. We've got the opportunity where stock markets crash and no one's got any money. There's also the opportunity where the World Bank is about to crash and there's EMF pulses everywhere where there's no internet, or we can't use AI anymore, because that's an opportunity. So everything's are opportunities in our life that we do sign up for. And it's when we look at it with grace and we look at these opportunities as learning experiences, that's where we truly learn the value of what is bad. So we truly appreciate what is good.
Yeah.
You know, how do we know what's good unless we experience bad?
Yeah.
You know?
How do we know really what love is if we haven't felt rejection and pain?
That's right.
You know, so.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, so that's why we come here to lose love. We come here to treasure and adore it for it to be taken away from us. So then when we go home, we appreciate the love that we get from other people, you know. And, you know, as I say, you know, you go to the beach for the first time ever, that exhilaration, that excitement as you run down to the sand and you just bursting at the seams with enthusiasm. And then day 3 of doing the same thing, you lose that enthusiasm. You think, oh, yeah, I won't run down this time. I'll just walk later. Oh, yeah, it's the beach. I live here all the time now. So we lose that emotion.
Yeah.
Because heaven is full of emotion, of good, loving energies. And that's why we come here to value the importance of it. Yeah, so thank you so much to that girl for sharing her story.
Yeah.
You know?
Very courageous. Yeah.
Great, very courageous to come out and say all that stuff happened to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, so she's obviously got the confidence, etc. now to, the self-esteem and the self-love to actually talk about it, so she's not embarrassed or feel shamed by what she's been through.
Yeah.
So good on her. You know, I give her a lot of credit there.
Yeah, yeah. It takes hell of a lot to come out, as it were, for want of a better phrase. But
that's right.
Linda, we're out of time.
And we are. Yeah, I need to go to bed.
Yeah.
Big day again for me tomorrow, as usual. Now. Yeah. So next week, I'll let you know how we go with this interview tomorrow that I'm doing. Yay! It may be out, so I can share the link where it is to. If you do have a story, guys, paranormal story, angel, NDE, ghost story, anything you want to talk about, please just record yourself in front of the screen for a few minutes or send it over to Mike as an email and so we can read it out on air. Email Mike. He has got his email here. I'll just add it again. Mike Cavalli at hotmail.com. Whoops.
Beat ya.
That would help. Yeah. There you go. You've got it as well. There you go. So, send it over to Mike. And if you do want to share your story, because the more we share our stories and the more that we believe in this stuff, the more we are energizing ourselves to win this war. Okay, guys? Yeah. So let's get the word out and start really pulsing out that vibration of love from within us, because that's how we're going to.
And also, the Jeanne d'Arc Spiritual Report is out for this week, so please do pop in, take a look at that. Her prophecies are absolutely incredible, how accurate they are. When you consider that, a lot of the time, you can't make prophecies because there's people can change opinions and then shift the whole trajectory. Yeah. But that's
what I say, Mike. When people say, "Hey, can you see where I'm going to be in 5 years?"
Yeah.
I say, "No, I only go out to 2 years because the future is so unset. Every moment of our day, we have the chance to change our mind and to create new possibilities. So." Yeah, there's just so many possibilities in 5 years of where we'll be.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I do need to go to bed. It is, what are we now? We're at 28 Celsius here in Brisbane tonight at 8 o'clock or 10 past 8 at night. I've got the AC on. I'm sure I'm going to sleep with that on tonight because I'm still sweating.
I'm not sure if you can see it, what will happen. You can't, but we got snow everywhere.
Oh, don't do it, Mike. Let's just swap. You can come over here to the sweltering heat and I'll just lie there in the snow and make snow angels. That's what I want to do, snow angels. Yeah.
Plenty of snow here to make snow angels, Linda.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's
guys,
wrap it up.
Have a great week. Talk to you all soon.
See you next week.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.